Okay, so we're here at series part 2, why people can't lose weight. Now, here's the thing. When you're 18 years old, most people can burn fat easily and without much problem. They can even go on a diet. They can even do pretty much any diet, and it works. But when they hit this age 52 or even in their 40s or older, something starts to happen where they can't lose weight anymore. So what's the difference between this and this? And I want to show you in relationship to hormones what occurs. At age 18, you have the most fat-burning hormones that you will ever have in your life. And after 18, it goes downward, where you only have a little bit left. Okay, so you got one right here. And some of you already experienced this and you know this, but if you're 18 years old, you have something to look forward to, because it's all downhill from here. No, just kidding. So we want to realize that you're dealing with not enough fat-burning hormones. Now, do we just take hormones? Would it be a good idea just to take some more? The problem with taking hormones in general is that the feedback when you take these hormones outside the body, inside your body then works less. In other words, it'll pump out. Instead of pumping out that last one, it doesn't need to pump out anything. So it gets these hormones, it connects to the gland, and the gland stops to produce and becomes dependent on the hormones that you feed it. So it has a reverse effect. So every time you take a hormone, you basically shut down your own body's gland that is supposed to make it. Thus, all the environmental hormones, the growth hormones in the food supply, and what that does to our body, not to mention birth control pills, HRT, and all the estrogen as well. So the problem is taking hormones might help you in the short run, but in the long run they can shut things down and make it worse. So that's not the thing that I'm going to jump in and tell you to do. Now if we look at the fat-making hormones, you're born with a certain amount and they peak out at 18. But the fat-making hormones do not decrease when you're 52. They stay the same. It's not fair. But so the ratios, you can see the ratio is 1 to 1. Here it's like it's completely unfair because the odds of you trying to lose weight doing the same thing you did when you're 18 is much less than winning the lottery. So it's not going to happen. So we have to use this information wisely. So instead of trying to stimulate this last hormone you have with all these pills and stimulants, why not avoid triggering this right here? Because these fat-making hormones are dominating. In other words, this is what's really keeping this last one from working. And yes, you have to be a little bit more strict. Yes, you have to use more discipline, but you can still overcome this problem. And these are the two hormones that we want to talk about, insulin and cortisol. Insulin is the hormone that regulates blood sugars. It's triggered by sugar and is a fat-making hormone. Cortisol is a stress hormone that's triggered by stress. So what I would recommend if I were you and you had the situation is I would put less energy trying to stimulate this and more energy try to lower the fat-making hormones. You'll be more successful. Now, how do we do that? That means that someone at 18 years old can get away with eating more sugar than you can. So I would avoid all sugar added and even in foods that are hidden. So I want to keep that insulin down to 0. Again, last week, I think it was last week, I created the video on that point, okay, insulin. The other thing is the hidden insulin, like an MSG. You go to a Chinese restaurant and it's hidden as modified food starch in a lot of different foods, restaurants, and it's something that makes the food taste better, but it will spike insulin by 300%, so watch out for that. Cortisol, this is a stress hormone, so you want to start doing things to reduce stress, more sleep, long walks, avoid people that are stressful, avoid situations that are stressful. Anything that can lower stress is very, very therapeutic to your metabolism. So these are the two things that you want to put attention on mostly right now, not necessarily put focus on this one right here. So what I'm trying to do is give you strategies, not necessarily the details of every single little thing, but this would be part 2 focus is put more attention on limiting the fat-making hormones than trying to put energy, try to stimulate the fat-burning hormones. All right? I'll see you in the next video in part 3.